doesn't like to wear shoes.
I'm
The jokes just write themselves.
playing into the stereotypes. Be here. I didn't know he was not going to make it.
Do you know when the services are?
I don't, but I'm sure his wife will let me know once she gets through celebrating.
Yeah.
No, we do not. No, we do not. Oh, it's time for the Smokey Guys.
Yeah, and we're here.
Yep.
Just the two of us this time.
Yep. Just the two of us. No, we can't do that. That's a licensed song.
Yeah, it's like if we only go so far into that song, and then we're getting charged.
Welcome to the Smokey Guys Podcast. I am CR Parsons. I'm one of the Smokey Guys.
I'm the other Smokey guy. I'm Kevin Price.
Oh, it has been an interesting week, Kev.
It has.
I know you took off and went out of town again.
Yeah. Had to get out of Tulsa.
Well, I mean,
You know.
have to, wanted to, needed to. At least you weren't being chased out this time.
Exactly. No, it was a good weekend. I got to go with the family up to Kansas City and got to coach some soccer in a tournament up there, and just had a good time.
Well,
How
good.
about you? You were at the Looney Bin here in Tulsa, weren't you?
Yeah, it was a Looney Bin weekend. Had a great run of shows. I got to give a shout out to the headliner and feature this week. Ralphie Roberts was the headliner. He's the guy. I think he's originally out of the Chicago area, but I can never remember. But he's really funny. A great guy to work with. Great guy to hang out with. And then Greg Henderson. Greg cracks me up because Greg is about the same age as me, and he grew up in northern Mississippi, southern Tennessee. He lives in Memphis, and his wife went to Ole Miss, and I'm a big Ole Miss guy, and so the first time we worked together, we had to sit down after the first show and go, okay, I'm going to do jokes about this, or you're going to do jokes about... We had to separate out our material because we had very similar material because we had oddly similar life experiences.
Yeah.
Having grown up roughly in the same vicinity and all of that. So it was really funny the first time we worked together.
Had to segment your parts of Mississippi so that you didn't...
Exactly.
One of you didn't trip over the other one's hillbilliness.
Exactly.
I understand. Yeah.
Now, Greg's a great guy. Both of them were spectacular. Had great crowds.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Thursday night's crowd, we had over 100 people in the room, which for a Thursday night is unbelievable. But I had one of the funniest things happen that has ever happened to me on stage. I'm in the middle of a joke. I hit my premise, I hit my setup, and I'm about to deliver the punchline, and this huge clap of thunder happens. I was like, God,
Yeah.
if you don't want me to continue, I won't. I will post a video of it. If you look on my Facebook page, you'll see the video sometime soon once I get it edited.
Nice. Yeah, we were a little concerned when we left Tulsa because, of course, I guess it had rained here for a good solid 2 days, and then the whole drive up through Missouri and into Overland Park, it just poured rain the whole time, and so we're I'm getting messages from the other parents going, oh, is this soccer thing going to actually happen? Is because on top of coaching, I have to manage the team and I have to field all those lovely things. And I'm trying to explain to people that if you've never been to Overland Park, Kansas, into the Shields Soccer Complex, it is like the mecca of youth soccer.
Oh,
it is
really?
Amazing. They have these huge pitches, or fields for the
For the Americans.
for the Americans. Yeah, they have these beautiful soccer fields that are domed, they're turf, so all the water just runs off.
Nice.
And the really cool part is if it's cool out, they can turn the heat on underneath the fields and it raises it about 20 degrees.
Seriously.
Yeah, so you could actually feel it if you're standing there. Your feet never get cold.
Dude.
It is awesome.
That is high class
Yeah.
right there.
They've got it going on.
Because that's always my problem. Anytime I'm outdoors and it's really cold, is the cold coming up through my shoes. Because I work from home, so I don't ever wear shoes at the house, ever. And so when I wear shoes, I like to wear thin shoes that don't feel a whole lot like I'm wearing shoes.
Imagine that, a guy from Mississippi that doesn't like to wear shoes.
The
jokes just write themselves.
Playing into the stereotypes. But because of that, my feet get cold instantly because a cold ground will just suck the heat out of my feet.
Yeah.
And it always kills me. So that would be awesome to have that.
Yeah, it was killer. And I guess here in Tulsa, we always have the PGA events here at Southern Hills.
Mm-hmm.
And their greens here have the same type of system.
Oh yeah.
So we can have snowfall and the greens are just beautiful out there. Everything else is covered in snow except the greens.
You can't find your ball on the fairway, but you can find it on the green.
For sure.
I can't find my ball on the fairway anyway. You've seen me play golf.
I've been there.
I always say I play more golf in 3 holes than everybody else does all day.
Yeah, it was a great weekend. Man, we also, I'm a foodie, and as this series goes on, I'm sure you'll hear lots of food stories from me, but one of our buddies here in town that's a local chef, Ben Alexander, turned me on to this place. It's a Thai barbecue restaurant up there.
Okay.
And it is amazing.
Really?
It's that Thai infused, or I guess Thai fusion barbecue.
Yeah.
So I mean, the ribs were some of the meatiest ribs, and they were just seasoned perfect, cooked perfect. We had a big table. It was my wife's birthday this weekend, so we had a big table full of friends, and we all just ordered everything off the menu, just tons of stuff, and just passed it around. So we had they had burnt red curry burnt ends, which were I'm not a huge curry guy, but that was phenomenal. Everybody just went crazy. It was a great experience. Got to take in a Sporting KC game. As you can see, I got the swag here. It didn't work out.
Which one is that? I can't read
this
it through
is
your beard.
Sporting Kansas City. It's their MLS team.
Okay.
So we took our whole team.
Oh, so you weren't just calling it a sporting event?
No,
literally.
Truly, Sporting KC is the name of their team.
Okay.
And we took all our boys and took them down on the field and took a picture after the game, and
nice.
They thought that was cool. Didn't work out for the home team. They were playing the Seattle Sounders, and they got beat 4-1, and it was it didn't work out for the home team, but it was a great experience. They put on, that stadium is amazing. Of all the MLS stadiums I've been to, they do it right.
Yeah,
they've got a great fan experience, man, I know the Sporting KC fans were happy, but we did get to see the Seattle Sounders. All 4 goals were scored by one guy.
Okay,
and all 4 goals were assisted by a guy who I don't want to say it's his first start, it may be, but anyway, he hadn't been on the field in quite a while, but because of them having players get loaned out and stuff, it was his night to get in.
Yeah. And
he ended up assisting on 4 goals.
Wow.
It was just amazing to watch these guys, connect and do their thing. So
yeah,
a lot of fun.
That's cool. That's very cool, especially if you're into soccer.
Yeah. Crickets.
You have to be into a sport.
Yeah.
I can't say anything. I spent part of the weekend at the baseball field because I had a kid playing a grandkid playing in a baseball tournament. And
I was gonna say, did you go buy a kid or something? Last
I
time
rented one for the weekend.
Okay, there you go.
No, my grandson, all of my grandsons are baseball players, but my second oldest grandson is a phenomenal baseball player, and I don't say that as a proud grandpa because I hate baseball. As far as I'm concerned, the only good thing about baseball is beer and a hot dog, and at Little League games you can't get a beer.
Yeah, still get hot dogs though, right?
Well, kind of. It's South Tulsa, so they're half tofu dogs.
Yeah.
But we had a baseball tournament this weekend, and he is just. I've never seen a kid that was as focused as he is on the game. He's having fun. He enjoys it, but he is so game oriented. He's one of these kids who he knows where he's supposed to be at every moment in time. He knows where the play's supposed to be at every moment in time, and it was amazing watching him play. And he played catcher this week for most of the tournament, which he loves because apparently I'm told the catcher is the one in charge of the game.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks it's the pitcher, but I have been told by my grandson that the catcher is the one in charge of the game.
It's true. They call all the pitches.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they literally are calling the game. So they're kind of the quarterback of the offense, if you will. So
well,
I totally get that.
He says he's the only one who can see the whole field.
Right.
Because everybody else can only see their part of the field, and he's the only one that can see the entire plays happening. And so it just that's just his sweet spot.
Yeah.
His sweet spot. And they won. 144 teams.
Wow.
And they took first place.
That's amazing. Yeah, we went up last year for this. It's the Emerald Cup soccer, and we won it last year. Our age division in our group. Anyway, we came out of it on top, and then this year didn't do so hot because we got moved up into a different category since we won. So we ran into some really good teams. Not that we got blown out by any means. We were in all the games, and just didn't quite work out in our favor. But
so
we'll go back again.
No risk of relegation.
Right.
I'm telling you everything I know about soccer. No risk of relegation, but it wasn't exactly the tournament you were hoping for.
Exactly, but had a great time. All the boys, it's cool to take the youth teams on the road like that because it's a heck of a bonding experience for them, getting to run around the hotel and have a good time, and so we love doing that. And
speaking of all I know about soccer. Ted Lasso, the new season has started. Have you started watching it?
I have.
And I have not yet.
Oh boy, it's good.
Oh, I can't wait to get into it.
I just, as a coach, I find myself in being a fan of Ted Lasso. I just have to really contain myself because I find that I'm probably more like a Roy Kent. And it's really, really hard for me not to just be like yelling at him, "Oi, you little shits!" Yeah, but I have to throttle that. And I have to be nice and calm and fight back those Roy Kent urges to yell and scream. But
well, I am hoping and praying that sometime before too long we get a crossover episode of Ted Lasso and Welcome to Wrexham.
Oh yeah.
You got me interested in Welcome to Wrexham.
It's phenomenal.
I knew nothing about it until the season was almost over. And I can't remember if you had a t-shirt or we were just talking about it one day. But you told me about it, and I immediately went and watched it. If you haven't watched it, that is the one where Ryan Reynolds and...
Rob McElhenney,
yeah.
You know him from Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Right. They bought a football team.
Yes, football.
Over in Wrexham, England.
Yeah.
I guess it's England, UK.
Yeah.
I never know over there
It
where
all kind
it is.
of all kind of runs together, and I don't know all those different.
One of those
either.
weird little islands. But they bought a team, an actual team, not a for TV thing. They actually bought a team that was at the bottom of the totem pole, looking at relegation and the whole 9 yards, and have done amazing things with it. If you haven't seen the season, it's worth watching.
And you don't have to be a soccer fan, football fan to watch it. I mean, it helps.
Exactly.
It helps probably turn you into a fan.
Yeah.
The way they deliver it in such a manner that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Probably enough talk about soccer and what we did this weekend, which is always fun to talk about because I know you and I haven't got a chance to catch up till right here on camera.
That's right.
But what are you smoking over there?
This is we talked about it last week.
Yeah.
This is the Honor Among Thieves. It's one of the Sinestro line. This is one that was gifted to me by our producer, who is
so we have
not
to
off camera.
Yeah, this. I guess we should call this the in memoriam episode.
Yeah,
I mean,
I guess we could do that.
I really hate that, he had to go out like this. I mean, whenever I texted you earlier about us doing this tonight, and you said he wasn't going to make it, I thought he just had a cold. I didn't realize he was that ill.
When I said he wasn't going to make it, I didn't know either. I just thought he was not going to be here.
Yeah,
I didn't know he was not going to make it.
Do you know when the services are?
I don't, but I'm sure his wife will let me know once she gets through celebrating.
Yeah. Man, it's just such a shame that he had to die. I just can't. Well, he didn't die?
I can't keep it together. No, he didn't die. He's just sick.
Oh.
I mean, more sick than usual.
So he's not going to make it. Just he wasn't going to be here tonight.
Right.
Oh, I had that totally wrong. Wow. Okay, so if I scared any of his family, I apologize. I suppose. If you were looking for an inheritance, you might contact his attorney, CR Parsons. Maybe he could work something out for you. I'm pretty sure I'm out of the wheel at this point.
Probably so. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about cigars. What are you smoking?
Same thing.
Same thing.
Exact same thing. Our guest last episode, Nate, who also happens to be in the room tonight.
Hey, Nate.
Hey, Nate.
What's up, guys?
So, he bragged on how great a cigar this is, and so our non-dead producer, Kevin Schultz, gifted these to us.
Yes.
And because we didn't make the event that they were here with, but I like it so far. It's a great smoke.
Yeah, it's very good. It's got a little natural sweetness to it, in my opinion. Not like a dipped sweet, not like a tobacco or a Sweet Jane or any of those, but like a natural earthy sweetness.
Right, just a natural tobacco sweet.
Right,
Yeah.
Almost like a carrot. A carrot is a vegetable, and it tastes like a vegetable, but it's a sweeter vegetable.
I don't eat those.
Do you not eat carrots?
I don't eat vegetables.
Well, I do. Unfortunately, I have a doctor and a wife that make sure I do.
I probably should. So if my cardiologist is watching, I'll do better. Maybe. We'll see.
Maybe.
Might mix in a salad once a year.
Well, we talked a little bit last week about the different brands we were smoking and what our first smokes were. But I wanted to go a little more in depth about some different brands of cigars, and maybe a little bit about why it's important to try different brands of cigars.
So, I appreciate this because I'm not a homework guy, never was throughout school. But whenever I arrived here tonight, I was handed a lovely set of notes to help guide me through this. I assume it took you hours and hours of research and putting this all together and making this nice outline.
Yeah, I spent days on this. I researched it forever.
Yeah.
I took a lot of time. This is just the outline. It's 3 pages of just outline, and the depth of research I did to figure out how to use ChatGPT was a good bit. No, dude, if I were in school today, I would never do homework at all.
Yeah.
ChatGPT can do anything I would be asked to do in school. In fact, as I understand, the ChatGPT 4, the one that we don't have access to generally yet, but you can get access to, has taken some version of the bar exam and passed it. It's just a language modeler, but it passed the bar because it could figure out the proper answers, which makes me very nervous about my job.
Right. Your chosen profession is about to be AI.
A computer is going to be better at it than I am, that's probably not saying much.
Well, I've never, and I've heard you talk a lot about GPT, or is it PDF?
Chat PDF.
Yeah, Chat PDF, something, or that's a line of cigars. I don't know anymore. I'm so lost. But yeah, the whole thing, you've told me all about it, and you've sent me some stuff off of there that you had it write original songs, and it's amazing what it'll do, and I can't wait to dive into it at some point.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. It's a lot of fun to mess with. But that's what I use to do this, and I want to go through some of this, but I don't want to read it. But I do want to talk about some of the things that it points out, because it is important to try different brands of cigars especially when you're first getting into cigars.
Oh, for sure.
Because cigars are a lot like wine or even coffee. Every place has its own flavor profile, and everything's different, and everything's unique to the person.
Yeah.
I may smoke a cigar that I absolutely love, and I may pick up, leather notes and vanilla, and even some butterscotch or cinnamon, or I had one that I picked up some citrus from. But you may smoke the exact same cigar and taste something completely different.
Oh, yeah.
Because your tastes are different than mine, and what you recognize and remember is different. And so I always tell people, try everything, because all of them are different. But the good thing about having brands that have been consistent over years is that they have a tendency to focus on a flavor profile.
Yeah.
And so you can learn a lot about a particular flavor profile from a particular brand. It may be a Dominican brand or a Nicaraguan brand or something that's blended, but they have a tendency to focus on areas instead of just broadly putting out everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. Of course, I think that says a lot about our personalities, is that, you know, we're bourbon Scotch guys, so we're always trying different things, and I think that's, you know, what I like about it is the adventure of experimenting and trying out everything. And I know we give a lot of hard time to people who smoke the sweeter cigars like the Deadwoods and the Tatianas and all those, but
yeah.
You know, those are great entry into the hobby of smoking cigars, and I don't know. I find it that the search, I guess, is more fun, because I love it when I find brands that I don't know, or if I see a stick from a brand that I already recognize, and maybe it just looks different than what I normally like.
Mm-hmm.
Pick it up, try it, and I know you and I've done this. We share a lot of cigars. You know, I'll smoke one and just think it's phenomenal, and then I'll give it to you, and you're like, not so much.
Right.
It's just not my thing.
Exactly. But there are some legacy brands out there, brands that have been around forever, like your Davidoffs. I think we mentioned last time, one of your first cigars.
Oh, Macanudo.
Macanudo.
Yeah, been around forever.
So there are some legacy brands out there, and part of the reason there are some legacy brands is some of the tobaccos are aged and fermented.
Yeah.
So you may have a brand that has a tobacco that they harvest this year that will not become a cigar for 10, 15, 20 years.
Right.
I think you and I both had the Colorado Clara from Davidoff, which was spectacular, but it was 100% 25-year aged tobacco.
Yeah.
And that process of fermenting and aging for that period of time gave it a very interesting flavor profile.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one we definitely agreed on. I'd gladly take 2 or 3 more if you got them.
Oh, absolutely. I don't think I have those left. But today I think we're going to talk about 4 different brands. I know we're going to talk about Arturo Fuente. We're probably going to talk about Padron, Rocky Patel, and
Oliva.
One of your faves.
Yeah,
Oliva. So let's start talking about Arturo Fuente. Arturo Fuente is a brand that has been around for a long time, founded in 1912 in Tampa, Florida. Assuming ChatGPT is correct,
right,
because I did not do the homework on this.
Didn't fact check them?
No, didn't fact check it at all. They are well known for producing high quality handmade cigars. They don't machine roll anything, as far as I know. Now they do have some lower end sticks that I still don't think they're machine rolled. I think all of theirs are hand rolled, and they're a highly sought after brand because they are consistent and consistently good.
Yeah, for sure. I think one of my favorites from them to like if you just want a smaller stick, just like you're gonna go out and take a walk, smoke something, is that little short story.
Absolutely.
Phenomenal little cigar there.
Mm-hmm.
What about so you were talking about they which a lot of these companies do, they'll make kind of entry level cigars,
right?
And then as your palate gets better and you start to go through theirs, tell us a little bit about some of their maybe they're more higher end lines.
They are famous or infamous depending on who you ask.
Infamous more than famous. I learned that from Three Amigos.
For one particular line, and that is their Opus X lines.
Yes.
Now, when I say Opus X, that is not a single cigar. There are several different types of Opus X. You have the Opus X Lost City. You have the Opus X, which what I call the 5-star because of the way they draw the X. There are 5 points on it, and there are several others. Funny story about the Opus X. I started smoking cigars back in the late 80s, early 90s. And there was kind of a heyday for cigars back in the early 90s. It was the yuppie generation, and everybody was making money hand over fist for a short period of time, and everybody thought they needed to be smoking cigars, especially a bunch of younger guys. And so Fuentes Opus X's became almost impossible to find. They were, this is how far back it was. I was on bulletin boards on the computer. Not chat rooms, not Facebook, on bulletin boards where I had to like dial into a particular number to be able to communicate with folks around the country. And I was fairly new to cigars, so I did not know what high end, what low end was. I didn't know any of that. And so I'm talking to some guy up in New York, and we're talking about hard to find cigars, and he said something about Fuente Opus X, and I'm like, those aren't hard to find. We have a shop here in town that has them every time I walk in. I've had several. And he just could not believe it because they could not get their hands on them in anywhere in the state of New York. And then, of course, people started popping up all over the place from any big city, Chicago, Dallas, LA, everywhere. They're like, can you ship us some because we can't get our hands on them? Apparently, we had a shop here in town that had been around forever, Ted's Pipe Shops.
Yeah, it used to be my go-to.
Yeah.
That was the spot.
And apparently they had been around long enough that they got shipped whatever they asked for. Yeah. And so I smoked Opus X's throughout the 90s when I had the money. Yeah. Just because I could. Yeah. But they were almost impossible to get your hands on. But Opus X is a very high-end cigar from the Fuente brand. And when I say the Fuente brand, some are listed as Arturo Fuente, some are Fuente, and then there's one other name that I can't remember. But that's one of their great ones. Yeah. The other is their Hemingways. Yeah. Their Hemingways, and those are almost known as much for their unique shapes and sizes as they are for the tobacco in them. Yeah. Just because they that's where the short story comes from. Yeah. That's a Hemingway thing.
Yes. Yeah, I think probably the last one I had was God of Fire.
Oh, that's a good one.
That was a really, really, really good smoke.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, so do you have any other personal favorites from theirs? I guess we ought to give a shout out to our buddy that works there, Jose Blanco.
Absolutely.
He is a cigar guru, cigar Yoda,
or as Kevin called him the first time he met him. He goes, "Oh, Joe White, good to see you." And Jose thought that was hysterical.
Yeah, he only been called that one other time, which I find really hard to believe. That was kind of low-hanging fruit. But
exactly.
He was in town. He was here in Tulsa doing, at the time he was with another brand, but he came in and did a cigar class, and he brought a cigar for everyone in the class that had 4 different stages.
Mm-hmm.
So it had 4 different wrappers, and it had been designed to have, to allow you to try literally 4 different cigars all in one smoke.
And that was extremely educational.
Oh.
I learned more about cigars that night than I had learned in a long time. And like I said last time, I've been smoking cigars for 30 plus years, but I still learned so much, because you learned how much effect that wrapper has on the flavor of the cigar. Even though there's a lot of other tobacco in the cigar, that wrapper has a very distinct what's the word I'm looking for?
You having another stroke?
It sounds like I'm having another stroke. It has a very distinct impact on the flavor of that cigar.
For sure. And like I said, that was a great event, and would love it if he came here again and did more of those.
Absolutely.
Now that he's with Fuente, especially.
Absolutely. So as far as Fuente goes, if you get an opportunity, I would recommend the Hemingway Signature. It's a medium-bodied cigar with notes of cedar, spice, and nuts. And that is not D's nuts. That is more like I pick up a lot of pecan in it.
Yeah.
Other people pick up other nut flavors. Somebody I was talking to, they thought it was a Brazil nut all day long.
Yeah.
But that's what they picked up. And then the Opus X Lost City, which is a spectacular cigar. I've got 2 sitting in my humidor right now that I'm just waiting on a good occasion to smoke.
Yeah, those are great because they're very leathery and full of spice. So like
yes.
your white and black pepper.
Absolutely,
yeah.
Absolutely, and very full body.
Yeah,
that's
very full body.
That's one that you want to have a good meal on your stomach when you smoke it. Not that you need it, but it goes best that way.
For a full-bodied cigar, though, it also has a little sweetness to it because it's got that chocolatey cocoa type aftertaste, if you will.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, great job on the Fuentes. They're a phenomenal brand. That's a heck of a way to kick it off, too.
It is.
I guess next week probably talk a little bit about what is ChatGPT telling us here? Oh, Padron. Yeah. Let's see here. We can fact check them a little bit. Padron is a family-owned cigar company that was founded in Cuba in 1964, but was moved to Nicaragua.
That sounds right.
Yeah. I notice a lot of these, it says they produce high-quality, consistent cigars with a range of flavors. They've won a lot of awards. I personally love Padron. They have a good line, a good, I guess, variety.
Mm-hmm.
Because they have a lot of lines that they put out, and they're all high quality.
Yes.
I don't know, entry level.
They have a series named after numbers, and the 7000 is the one I smoke most often. It's a Maduro. It's probably a bigger size. I'm terrible with my sizes because everybody talks Robusto, Toro. They use those terms for the sizes. I just look at it and I go, that's about the right ring gauge, that's about the right length.
Yeah.
But it's one of the bigger ones. They've got the 7000, the 6000, and they get smaller the smaller the numbers go. But as far as an entry-level smoke, that one around here runs 10-ish or less, which is not bad at all for a premium brand stick. And it's just a good smoke. It's got good flavor. It's not quite as earthy as some of their higher-end stuff. Because, well, I'm sure you've smoked a good Padron out on the golf course. And you know there are times you pick it up out of the grass and you're not sure whether you're tasting the grass that you laid it in or the grassiness in the smoke.
Yeah.
Not that that's a bad flavor. That's a great flavor profile if you want something earthy and grounded. But it's the 7000 in that series is not quite as earthy as some of those.
Gotcha. Yeah, we actually had a interesting Padron experience. A few weeks ago, our buddy David came in from Amarillo, Texas, and wanted to have cigars. And so we roll out to one of our local cigar establishments here, and I had brought some really good cigars along with us, but he wanted to go out and treat us all, and he bought us a box of the 50th anniversary Padrones.
Yes.
Absolutely amazing cigars.
Yeah.
And I don't think he really knew what he was buying at the time, but and then he just gifted them to us.
Oh, such an amazing smoke. Now, that is not a cheap stick.
No.
Around here, I think they run...
I think when they were available, you could pick them up for around 50.
Yeah, 50 to 60. But if you buy them online, they're going to be as much as 100 and 120.
Yeah.
I've seen online. They are not a cheap stick, but oh my goodness, they are worth it. You talk about a smooth pulling, smooth smoking cigar.
Yeah, and the fun part of that night was one of my cousin who was here with us. Well, his nephew was out for his first cigar, and that was his first stick. So he is probably ruined forever.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. That's almost as bad as giving somebody a really good bourbon as their first bourbon.
Yeah,
because they feel like they can never go backwards.
Yeah,
because they'll go back to a regular Jim Beam and they'll be like, "This is crap."
Yeah. Why did you do this to me? But yeah, so a couple of theirs that stand out or to throw out there to people is the Padron 1964 Anniversary Exclusivo. It's a medium body cigar with kind of coffee, chocolate, spices.
Yeah.
And that one, I think it's a really, really good one, but probably the 1926 Series E9.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great one. It's named after the year that Jose Padron was born.
Okay.
So, just a great smoke. It's more of a full bodied, leather, cedar, earthy. Like
That's
you were
one of
talking
those
about.
Very earthy ones.
Very earthy cigar, but yeah, it's another phenomenal. But if you can find that 50th anniversary, by all means, grab them and smoke them because they are really, really good.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, that brings us to our next brand, which is Mr. Rocky Patel.
Oh,
yes. I will tell you, I have had the experience of hanging out with Rocky one night in Little Rock, Arkansas. He was in for an event, and the event ended, and this dude, I don't remember how old he is, but he's got to be in his 70s, and the event was over, and everybody was tired, and he was going, "Okay, where are we partying?" I cannot keep up with that guy. I mean, he's not quite twice my age, but he's closer to my mother's age than my age.
Yeah.
And he out-partied me that night. It was a blast.
That's saying something, because you're the guy that stays up till 3:30 in the morning every
Absolutely.
night.
Absolutely. But it was a blast hanging out with him. He's a great guy, and he puts out a great line of cigars. Here's the funny thing about him, and this I did not know until I read this. And I'm glad I didn't, because we probably would have ended up talking about a whole different line of conversation while we were hanging out. But he is a former lawyer.
Really?
Yeah, poor guy. He didn't have anything better to do with his life than practice law.
They didn't have ChatGPT whenever he passed the bar, did
No,
they?
they did not. No, they did not. He also has won hundreds of awards over the years. His range of cigars is everything from low-end stuff like the Rocky Patel Edge, which is a great introductory stick. And they have edges in several different styles and flavors. They've got a Maduro, they've got a Connecticut, they've got a Habano, which if you're looking at cigars and you see something that says Habano, that means that it is original Cuban seed.
Yes.
Now, it may be grown somewhere else, but it is original Cuban seed. I can't remember if there is a Sumatran edge. I want to say he has a Sumatra edge as well. And Sumatra, for an entry-level cigar, I love the Sumatra tobacco because it is so approachable.
Yeah.
It is not overly dense. It does not smoke real heavy. If you're introducing somebody to cigars and want to hand them a stick that is probably going to be palatable to them without starting them on something sweetened, a Sumatran is a great option.
I did just learn, don't catch smoke right in the eye. Wonderful cigar. I got a big blast of smoke right in the eye, and my eye is watering like crazy, which it happens.
Oh, somebody. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was
going
to say so of the Patel line. I mean, probably my favorite is the 55, and I think you can get those outside of the. Used to, you could only get them in the Burn Rocky Patel bars, and there's only like 4 or 5 of those in the nation. Now you can actually get that cigar out at different shops and stuff. That cigar consistently is in my top 5.
Absolutely.
Absolutely consistent, smokes great, and it's one of those that if you take a moderately, moderate cigar smoker, someone's been doing it for a little while, you hand it to them, they're going to be blown away by it.
Absolutely, and they do a line called the Vintage and a line called the Decade.
Yes,
and both of those are spectacular cigars. The Decade is all aged tobacco, like I was talking about earlier. It's all aged for at least 10 years. It's named after their decade anniversary, but they have continued the line even beyond that.
It's had a vintage 1992 not too long ago, and that was really, really a good smoke.
Oh yeah?
And I had several and shared them with some guys, and they all raved about it.
The vintage series is really good. The 99 is a good one. Now I'm not a big Connecticut guy.
Yeah.
Connecticut wrappers, for me, they are a lighter colored wrapper, and the color does not bother me and does not matter to me. The flavor profile is even good. My problem with them is that Connecticut wrapper has a tendency to be a little thinner and a little more tender. And I'm not exactly easy on my cigars.
Yeah.
I have a tendency to use my teeth, much to my wife's chagrin. So sorry, Mom. So
your mom's watching this?
I hope not. So the Connecticut wrapper is not usually my thing, but that 99 Vintage is a Connecticut wrapper that is very good. Medium to full body, so it's not overly strong. But it is a good hefty cigar. The flavor notes on that listed here are cream, cedar, and nuts, and I definitely get the cream.
Yeah.
Because most of the Connecticut's have that creaminess about them, and I can see the nuts. The cedar, That's not something I've picked up that much on it, but that's just me.
Cedar's one of those that whenever you get it, well, you really know it. Of course, I'm also a barbecue guy, so wood.
He knows his woods.
Yeah, wood smoke is something I pick up on right away.
Yeah. Now, one I have not had that's listed here is the Decade Robusto, which is full-bodied with notes of coffee, chocolate, and spice, which tells me that I
Probably
am missing out.
You need to search one out.
I'm missing out because that is my chocolate. Not so much as the cream. I love a good creamy cigar, but you give me any cigar that has that coffee in it.
Yeah.
Oh, I love anything with a coffee flavor note in it.
Yeah, those are good to start your day with.
Mm-hmm.
If you're getting a morning stick, getting out on the golf course nice and early in the morning, that's always a good one to do. I also really like the 60, and then the new one, the DBS.
Yeah,
that's a full-bodied cigar.
The
That
DBS
is really good.
Yes, it is.
Right around that $20-$25 price range, I think.
Yeah.
Oh,
and just
really
so you know, we're not just talking out our rear ends because we want to make good with these cigar companies. Rocky has some lines that I'm not particularly fond of.
Same.
Rocky made a name for himself in always coming out with interesting stuff. But because of that, in my opinion, and it's just my opinion, there are times I feel like he has had some good lines come out and then let them kind of wither a bit. while he focused on other lines. And so there are some that I've smoked and I probably won't go back to. And he comes out with some specialty stuff occasionally. Usually it's labeled ALR, aged, limited, and rare. And those, for me, are very hit and miss.
Yeah.
They're something that come out, I don't know if it's on an annual basis, they come out with different lines, or they just every once in a while change the line. But I've had some ALRs that were good, and I bought a box that I just didn't like. It just wasn't my flavor profile.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. I think that's with a lot of them, though. But yeah, Rocky's one that's just got so many lines. I think that you tend to run into that.
Right.
Like I say, it's easy to lose focus.
Yeah, he is one that does a lot of different stuff, and then Drew Estates is one that does they are constantly coming out with something new.
Yeah.
And I think they suffer from the same thing. They make some spectacular stuff, but I think they suffer from that, from lack of focus, if you will.
Yeah, I've had some of those too. Yeah, like I say, both brands that just don't quite hit it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, nothing wrong with that. Because there's somebody out there, for the ones that we don't like, there's somebody out there that loves them.
Absolutely. Brian probably loves every one of them. We have to pick on Brian.
We have to pick on Brian.
We have to pick on Brian. He's not here. If you have not seen the last episode 4, go watch it. We talk about sitting around smoking cigars with guys, and you never know who you're going to run into. But there is always that one guy. Yeah. There's always that one guy who speaks more than he knows and more often than he should. And we love Brian.
We love it, though.
We love Brian to death. But
he loves those PDF cigars.
That's PDFs. Right. He loves those PDF cigars.
Well, continuing on, now we'll get to our last line for this conversation, anyway. But this is one of my them I go to quite often. Is Oliva. I think they're another one. They make a cigar down to the very true beginner.
Oh, absolutely.
All the way up to high end, specialty stuff. That let's see, what is ChatGPT telling me now about these folks? Their history. They are a family-owned cigar company that's founded in Cuba in the 1800s.
Okay.
Long way back. They also moved to Nicaragua. As with all of them, they've all won awards, and these that we're talking about, they've all been around a long time. They've stood the test of time, if you will. Probably their two most popular is the Series V and the Series O. I really like the Series V. They're full-bodied, where the O is a little more balanced, a little more medium-ish. There's not a whole lot to talk about here with them, but
one note on those two lines.
Yeah.
If you're ever in a cigar shop, don't refer to them as the Series 5 and the Series 0.
Yeah.
I made that mistake and felt like an idiot when I was corrected once. Because the way it's written on there, Series is written in very old English kind of style, and then it's a V. So that's 5. That's a 5
Roman
to me.
numeral.
It's a Roman numeral. And then Series O, that would be 0, because you've got a 5 and a 0. No, that's not what they're called.
No. Probably my favorite of theirs is that Series V 110.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like $10, $11 a stick, and yeah, I buy those up every chance I get, because they're a smoke that I can go pick up any time of day, smoke it, and be 100% happy with what I picked up.
That stick is a great example of how the shape of a stick can make a difference in the way a stick tastes.
Yeah.
It's the exact same tobacco as a regular Robusto Series V, but it is a tapered stick. It's not a torpedo, in that it's not torpedoed on both ends. It is literally a taper from one end to the other. And so it starts out very small and gets bigger as you go.
Brian would tell you to cut both ends.
He probably would. He probably would. You can't smoke it this way. I promise you, I've tried. I can't smoke it this way. It keeps going out on me every time I... No, but the thing is, the smaller end gives you a different flavor profile as when it gets a little bigger. So you really get a sense of how the ring gauge on a cigar makes a difference in how it tastes based on how much wrapper there is compared to filler and binder.
Yeah.
And that's a great example of that.
Yeah. So, I know we talked about only doing 4, but we could maybe do a bonus 5th brand. You've touched on it.
I think I've mentioned the 5th brand.
I think you've touched on one.
But see, anytime you're giving people instructions on stuff, you're always supposed to tell them what you're going to tell them.
Yeah.
Tell them, and then tell them what you told them.
Yes.
And I've already told them what we were going to tell them.
Right.
And that was only 4 brands.
Yeah, but this is like a bonus content, if you will.
Okay, we can do that.
They've been a good crowd.
You guys have been a good crowd. You've been very patient. You've been very quiet. Let us talk, whether we knew what we were talking about or not. Yeah. So go ahead. Let's start on that other brand.
So you mentioned Drew Estate.
Mm-hmm.
That's another one of our favorites. I know, like I say, I think we both own a whole lot of free gifts from Drew Estate.
We have a lot of Drew
I
swag.
say free. We've bought a lot of cigars in order to get that stuff. So
yes, we have.
They're they're a great company. They're probably one of the newer companies out of like what we've been talking about here, because they started in 1996 in New York City.
Right.
They produce a wide variety of cigars.
Mm-hmm.
You can find literally anything from a sweet cigar to your full-bodied, high, super high-end cigars.
They are the only line that we've mentioned throughout this that actually has the flavored cigars and the sweetened cigars.
Yeah, they have their Deadwood series, which is phenomenal.
Absolutely. They have their acid line.
And the acid line, that is, I would probably venture a guess that's the number one entry. Most people nowadays, that's probably the one that most people get started on.
I believe, it doesn't say it here, but I believe that acid is the best-selling line of cigars in the country.
I would,
just because of the fact that they are flavored, and people that aren't cigar smokers will smoke one because it's flavored.
Yeah.
And so I think I read that somewhere. Don't fact check me on that.
We don't. Rest in peace, our producer. I know he's not here tonight, but
no, rest peacefully.
Rest peacefully.
Rest peacefully.
Take some NyQuil.
Right.
And okay,
right.
That's what rest in peace means, right?
No. Rest peacefully means take NyQuil, get your rest, get healthy. Okay. Rest in peace means that he's never coming back.
Oh, okay. Well, I would like to just go ahead and throw it out there that we kind of have a fact checker in the house tonight. Pretty sure Nate could tell us something. He's got a phone in his hand. He could probably look up Lugal and tell us what's going on over there.
No, I'm looking now.
He's looking. Well, while you're looking, what are you smoking over there?
This is it's actually Drew Estates. It's the Herrera Estella.
There you go. Close enough.
Don't ask me.
It's a Maduro.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I actually saw you smoking that. That's why I brought it up. And I was curious to see if you could say it. Yeah, I think it's the Herrera Estella.
Something like that. Yeah. It's a good smoke. It's a good cheap, like maybe $10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
$10, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that one and their Nica Rustica are a couple of my favorite. Not low end as in low quality, but low end as in low priced cigars.
Yeah, and that newer Nica Rustica that they came out with, man, that's actually a really, really good smoke for what, $6?
Exactly.
I mean, it's a phenomenal cigar. And of course, my favorite is probably the Liga Privada.
Well, yeah.
The Liga 9. Oof.
Liga 9 is one of the best cigars I've ever smoked, and they're on the higher end.
Yeah.
You're not getting a cheap stick in a Liga, but they are worth it.
Yeah. For sure.
So, depends on who you ask here. There's multiple places, but Cigar Place has Acid Blondie as the 7th.
Acid Blondie is the 7th, okay.
Isla del Sol, which is an acid brand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like cheap, like $5-6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one I give everybody's brand new because they're gonna waste the cigar that I gave them.
Right.
And it's a good starter because it has a sweet tip for people that just aren't. The Acid Blondie Maduro is number 7.
Okay.
Deadwood Fat Bottom Betty number 6.
Yeah.
Acid Cuba Maduro number 5.
I knew that was one of their best sellers.
Yeah.
The Cuba.
Acid Cuba. So the other one is Maduro. Acid Cuba is number 3.
Okay.
And you're right, Acid Blondie number 1. This is according to Cigar Place.
Okay. Yeah. So that's what I thought was that the Acid line were currently the best-selling cigars in the nation.
Yeah.
Which just tells you they're good quality smokes, even though they are flavored. And like he said, we have a tendency to pick on people about smoky flavored cigars, but there's nothing wrong with them. I enjoy a good flavored cigar every now and then.
Yeah, and I mean they're kind of known for their herby qualities and their sweetness. I would say medium body at best.
Right.
I don't think I've had one that just I felt like was warranted a full body description. But
No.
yeah,
So Fat Bottom Betty's probably closest.
that's close. Yeah,
Right.
because I've actually seen the larger ring gauge Fat Bottom Betty put some people down.
Yeah.
Which but it's a good smoke, and like I say, I like their variety because they do have a wide range of things that you can pick up, and if you're having a get together with a group of smokers, you can get some of those. They're going to be quality, they're going to be consistent, and they're going to be kind of a non-offensive introductory cigar.
Especially
Exactly.
new smokers.
Yes.
Because I have that sweet to kind of get some.
Right.
Because us Americans, we like our sugar.
Yeah.
Yes, we
They
do.
also do their live events, which are really cool. They do, I think, 1 or 2 a year, maybe. Where
least.
you can buy like a pass, and they have a big drawing, and they have a big online couple hour long thing where they do drink pairings and drink recipes and all that stuff. And I mean, I think they've given away like cars.
They gave away a Jeep.
Yeah.
They gave away a Jeep one year.
I think that was last year.
It may have been. I didn't win it, but they gave it away.
I've never won anything from it. So.
Me neither. Me neither. We assume they give them away. We've never won them.
No.
But they call out names and tell where they're from, so I assume they're real. But that Liga is one of my absolute favorites, and of course it is. It has all of the flavor notes that I absolutely love.
Yeah.
It's got the leather, it's got the espresso, that heavy coffee bean, and then it's got a little chocolatey note to it, which I don't pick up as much, but that's just a spectacular stick.
They are one of the better companies, maybe the best company at marketing.
They really
are
are.
a heck of a marketing machine.
They really are.
And they do a great job at that, and it proves in their sales.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about pulling up whatever list you're on, they're going to have most of that top 10 list of high volume selling cigars.
Yeah.
So
I guess what we're getting at with all of this is if you're new to cigars, we've given you some brands to go check out, but try everything. There are so many good brands out there these days. There are a lot of boutique brands that may only have 1 or 2 lines. There are some boutique brands that do custom work for individual shops.
Yeah.
I know there's a brand that does one for here called The Law. That is a good smoke. We've got smaller brands like Espinosa, which I guess isn't really that small.
not anymore.
not anymore. And who is it that just came out with that? It's Drew, the blackened, the Metallica cigar. I just had one of those the other day.
Goes along with the blackened bourbon.
The M81.
Yeah,
Really
the
good,
M81, yeah.
really good smoke. Really good smoke. But there are a lot of smaller brands out there. Caldwell's one that I think of.
Oh yeah, they do the King is Dead.
Yes.
Those are phenomenal.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan.
The Filthy Hooligan line.
Alec Bradley.
Yeah,
we just had those for the St. Patty's Day. Those are always a great, because you get the now it's going to escape me, but the doggone, you get the barber pole.
Yeah.
With that Candela
With the
wrapper.
Candela wrapper.
Yeah. Yeah, and then going back to one of our others, was it last year before last, for St. Patty's Day, I picked up a whole bunch of Candela sticks because they're green, and had a whole bunch of us out for St. Patty's Day, and I was passing those out, And the Rocky Patel all Candela wrapper was a phenomenal stick.
Yes, it was.
Some of those are hit or miss, but that Candela was perfect. It was a really, really good one.
One thing I did not do when I started smoking cigars, and I wish I had, everybody told me to, and I ignored them because I'm an idiot. I suggest if you're going to get into cigars, keep a cigar journal. Just grab the wrapper or grab the ring that comes on it, throw it in a notebook, make some notes as to what you liked and what you didn't like about it. Because I have found myself picking up sticks over and over, not remembering whether I've had it or not, or what its flavor profile was. And usually I'm pleasantly surprised because I smoke a broad enough variety of sticks that my tastes are very broad. But do that, it'll help you keep up with what you've tried, what you haven't tried, what you like, and what you don't like.
Definitely, there's apps out there too you can download to
Absolutely.
keep track of your cigars that you've smoked, and you can. I think there's a couple where you can actually scan the ring, and it'll tell you, it'll catalog it for you,
Yeah.
and give you all of their their tasting notes that are in their database. But it allows you to put your own in as well, and you can compare what your palate picked up to what they're telling you they think should be in there. And it's kind of neat sometimes. But you got to remember too that tasting notes are also subject to what you've had to drink, what you've had to eat prior to smoking, and that even kind of can take a cigar that maybe you didn't like and flip it to one that you do like, depending on what you've had to eat or drink.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely.
But we ought to talk about drinking.
Oh, we do need to talk about drinking because we're drinking a new whiskey.
Yes, new to us.
You picked this up?
I got this down in Dallas at one of my favorite shops down there. It's a Treaty Oak. It's out of Texas. And I thought I was getting something really cool because on the front it says aged 13 years, single barrel select, tells you the barrel number and which store I got it from, and it says bottled in Dripping Springs, Texas, distilled in Tennessee. I didn't read that close. Then you flip it around and it tells you this exclusive limited release features 100% 13-year-old Dickel bourbon from Tennessee. So really it's a 13-year-old Dickel that they've branded into their bottle.
Rebranded it as their own. But then they tell you. They tell you up front that they did that. That's just weird.
Kind of cool.
I knew it tasted familiar.
Yeah, it definitely had that Dickel character.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say this because I've drank a lot of Dickel over the years. 13 year seems to be their sweet spot. I really, really like this. This has it's very fruity, kind of cherries and stuff like that, but it's smooth. It drinks really well. Let's see what proof we're at. This is 85, so of course it's going to be
overly high.
Oh, I take that back. I've really got to get my eyes checked. It's 95, but it's not overly.
Still not overly high.
No, not overly high, but it's a good, easy sipper. I know over the last 2 years, you and I have had some 15, some 17, and even a 21 Dickel.
Mm-hmm.
And all of those to me came across a lot more oaky,
Yes.
a lot more woody flavor, char flavor, and I feel like it stayed in the barrel too long.
I felt the same way, especially the older you got. And oakiness does not bother me, but barrel burn does.
Yeah.
And for some reason, they had a little too much of that.
Yeah.
As they got older. I agree. The 13 seems to be a sweet spot. That 17, there was something special about that.
Yeah, and I mean, I get it. I really do. I think just my personal flavor profile, too woody is not always a great thing, except we did get a few bottles of Hasty Bakes barrel pick.
Yes.
That they did, and it was originally supposed to be a 15, but when they bought the barrel, then COVID happened, and it stayed in the barrel an extra 2 years before they were able to barrel it or bottle it and bring it here for sale. But I'll say this: if you're pairing it with barbecue, the extra oak
It
flavor works.
It works. It works really well.
Works good with brisket and stuff like that. So,
Absolutely.
not that, like I say, it's not that it's a bad thing. I wouldn't turn it away. I just feel like this, if I was just sitting around drinking, is more approachable and just a little easier on the palate. But
Yep.
yeah, if I was sitting around eating a big old plate of barbecue, you could hand me that 17 and I'd be fine.
Well, one other thing I want to touch on before we close this episode out, and we're not going to become a review channel. We're not going to become a reaction channel, but I want you to watch a music video that I saw this week.
Okay.
I commented about it on my Facebook because I heard this song and then I listened to it another 50 times before 48 hours was up.
Wow.
It was so good. Let me grab the remote because I would love to get your reaction to it. I'll edit out us watching it
Okay.
again because we're not going to become a reaction channel.
You never know. We may become a reaction channel. Just saying.
Yeah, I mean,
Don't put it past us. We really don't know what we're doing.
if that's what you guys want, we will do that.
Yeah, make sure to comment, and while he's pulling this all up, you can comment on it. You can subscribe and like everything. Tell us what you want to see. There's certain lines of cigars that you want us to try out, and we'll be happy to do it.
Is this not the right remote?
We just need technical directors.
YouTube?
Yeah.
Man, someone's producer job's in peril here.
That's right. We're going to substitute a new producer. This is a guy I had never heard of until just about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks ago. And every reaction channel seemed to be reacting to this video.
Okay.
And so I looked the guy up to see who he was and what he did. And he's apparently a musician and rapper from England somewhere. And this song just blew me away when I heard it. So it's one of those, I had to listen to it at least twice to really pick up on it, because the first time the music caught me.
Okay.
and blew me away. Just his musicality blew me away. The second time I was actually able to dig into the lyrics and hear what he was saying, and that really blew me away.
Is it High C, Scandalous? Because I grew up on that.
No, it's HI REN.
Oh man, I was thinking DJ Quick and High C. This
No.
is awesome.
This is a kid named Ren, and I say kid, he's 27, 28. But this song, yeah, I'll let you listen to it and then we'll talk about it. So if you haven't seen the video for HI REN, I will have that linked below in the video. But that's what we just watched. What do you think?
Wow, it's deep. To be honest, when it first started, it's probably something I probably would have just turned off. The way it started.
Right.
It just did not pull me in. And he addresses it in the song, which is crazy, because the first thing I thought of was Eminem.
Mm-hmm.
The whole, good versus evil, talking to yourself back and forth. But the way he addresses the fact that, as artists, we all have this, dark side.
Right.
I think any creative has that, whether it be a musician, a painter, an actor. I think we all have that somewhere inside us, whether it be that voice of negativity telling you can't do something, you should give up. But he even addresses the fact that, this sounds like an Eminem song or a Plan B song. But the lyrics, I mean, it's crazy how he was able to just bring that all in and address the issue.
Absolutely.
I used to use Dexter as whatever people would talk about how
Dark Passenger.
Exactly, the Dark Passenger, and how you know, people would say, man, you know, there's sometimes where you're just the high of highs, sometimes you're just the low of lows. And I said, well, yeah, I think as a creative, you have that in you, and that's what drives the creativity.
Yeah. What I loved was he's got the two voices, the him positive, which you can hear some weakness in his positivity, and then him negative, and you can hear the strength in that negative, and then that third voice at the end, where he describes himself as hope. You know, where he says, hey, this is just a struggle that I have to go through, but I am hope. And that line is the one that killed me the first time I heard it. Some people know me as hope. Some people call me the voice that you hear when you loosen the noose on the rope. That line just went all through me. But it's such a powerful thing. From what I understand, he was at one point signed with Sony to do a record deal. And then he got Lyme disease. And that's part of what he's talking about is the autoimmunity and fighting through all of that. He's spent a decade now fighting that. So he lost his deal with Sony. He's an independent artist on YouTube, just putting out his own stuff. But that was just such a powerful song. I've listened to it probably 100 times now.
Yeah, it's cool. It's got that whole murder ballady thing, which is becoming real popular now, like Amigo the Devil.
Oh,
our buddy turned you on to that.
Yes, Terrell Norton.
Yeah.
He's a comedian here in town. He turned me on to Amigo the Devil, and then you got to see him before I got to see him live, and I've gotten to see him live since then. But if you haven't heard Amigo the Devil, look him up. Murder ballad is the best way to describe what he does, and it's just amazing.
Murder folk, I think, is another term they use for it. But there's several artists out there doing it now. This guy, like I said, this is the first time I've seen it. Man, he does a really great job of it. But
he really does.
The message behind this, I feel like there's a lot of people could probably watch this if they listen to the lyrics and, you know, help them understand. Because a lot of people have that like I said, the dark passenger, or whatever you want to call it, but I think a lot of people have that and they don't know how to properly interpret it.
Right.
And this does a great job of showing you this is it. This is how you can look at it.
Yeah, and this is part of being human.
Yeah.
Is having that struggle. So I loved that. And I know it doesn't exactly fit what we do here, but I just wanted to talk about it because we've talked about music before. We're both musicians, and I know music is a big part of both of our lives, and so I wanted to run through that and see what you thought.
Definitely, it's good, man. I'll check out some more of his stuff. I'm glad we stuck through it.
Yeah,
like I say, normally it probably wouldn't have been something that hit me right off the bat, but once he really got going, it's like, wow, what a great song.
Yeah, it really is. It's really good. With all of that done, I think we're done for tonight. Where can they find you online?
At KP Troubadour, at Kevin Price Band, and at Smokey Guys. What about you?
I'm CR Parsons Comedian or CR Parsons Comedy on all of the social medias. Email me, feel free, at booking@crparsons.com. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe because I think that's a requirement on any YouTube video that you say that at least once.
I think you have to.
So like, subscribe, hit the little bell so that you're notified when we put these up. I'm trying to put them up usually either on Sunday night or Monday, but I may not be consistent with that. So
our schedules are kind of crazy. So
exactly. So subscribing is the best way. Nate, thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Sorry we didn't get you on camera this time, but we'll do so another time. And thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time. Until then,
stay smoky.